Hey, what's up, folks? This is Jesse with Keeping It Real Finance, channel that always has your back and tells it like it is. Well, in this week's episode of the Jasmy Weekly Update, it centers around basically three themes. Number one is travel, number two is scammers, and number three is circulating supply. So we're going to be getting into all of that in this week's video, so stick around for that. I'll also be wrapping up everything with some final thoughts at the end with kind of what it all means, try to bring it on home, right? So if you enjoyed today's video, as always, make sure to hit the like button. If this is your first time to the channel, make sure to subscribe. And if you click the bell, you'll be made aware whenever I post time-sensitive content just like this. And try to be the first one to leave a comment, right? Now, let's get it going. What is up, everybody? Glad to be back with you on your weekly edition of the Jasmy Weekly Update. So we're going to kick it off right here, picking up from where I posted last week's video. Reposted the Jasmy Spaces call. I had a pretty good call last Sunday. As far as I know, I think we're having another call this Sunday. This weekend actually is my 12th wedding anniversary. So I'm not 100% if I'm going to be able to make the call, but hopefully I can. We'll see, right? So stay tuned on that. Otherwise, pretty big weekend overall here at our house. Moving on up from there, this is pretty funny. Somebody, MB, had posted this, and I said, is this true? If so, wow. This isn't really Jasmy related, but, obviously Gary Gensler has been in the news a lot lately. Head of the SEC, former professor at MIT. Glenn Ellison, professor of economics, MIT, former boss of Gensler. His daughter is Caroline, who was the CEO of Alameda, the VC firm for SBF that went down in flames. And then there's SPF, who's linked to her, and it's one big square. So anyway, that's kind of funny. Moving on up from there, yep, the SEC felt the need to go after Do Kwon, right? So kick him while he's down. That's the motto of the SEC. Who knows if they'll ever recover anything in that, Usually when I see things like this, it just kind of makes me think of an overzealous attorney trying to get their name out there. Moving on. For anyone who doesn't know, our own Zippy is DJ Lebo. So if you don't follow Zippy here on crypto Twitter, give him a follow. He's been posting in a few mixes lately. Those have been pretty awesome overall. Icy Amphibian. So he's pretty active in the Reddit community along with Lil Bidman. And he noted here, just posted a Jasmy quiz round 2. Winner gets free Reddit premium on Reddit. So that's pretty cool. So if you haven't checked that out yet, give that a look. This was interesting right here. So we had our Hara post that we, Jasmy, are very pleased to join Travala.com platform. We hope that our partnership with big travel sites like Booking.com will make Jasmy widely available to many more users. So this is pretty cool. So when I went down there, I noted that basically you can buy your travel with Jasmy now if you would like. And I think I had seen that Jasmy US had posted, I'm not sure if he did it publicly or if it was in a group chat, that Travala is actually owned by Binance. So this is a travel site owned by Binance, but I think the bigger picture here is that not only does it get Jasmy even further out there around the world, but it also references this Booking.com partnership. And, for those of us in the Jasmy community, I think to be determined what that really means. Does that mean that Booking.com could be using the personal data locker, kind of like the Nippon travel agency? It would make a ton of sense, especially if they're already a partner in this fashion. So I think there could be more to come on that. So that's really interesting. And this is kind of another one of these backdoor connections from CZ at Binance to Jasmy. Now, as far as I know, in terms of any of the projects that Binance acquires, they do not like remove the CEO or whoever's in charge. They just sort of like empower them. So I think that's probably what's going on here. But it's a really interesting connection that could lead to something much greater down the road. So I thought that was a really big deal. And we got a few posts from the community that I wanted to share here in a minute to talk a little bit more about that. But nonetheless, big time partnership announcement. We have this here also with Hara. Jasmy's article, Securing Trust in Digital Space with Blockchain, was published. So that was pretty cool. And it's got the Trip A logo in there. So again, travel related with Jasmy. Here's one here from Sayin1K, Blake Berryhill. So Jasmy Fam. So founded in 2017, now backed by industry giant Binance. Travala.com is the leading cryptocurrency-friendly travel booking service with 2,200,000 properties in 230 countries, 400,000 activities, and 600 airlines globally. Pretty cool, right? So really cool that we're in that partnership there. Moving on up from there, Dip Metaverse. He's had quite a few posts this past week, a lot of movement. So at the time that he posted this was on February 19th. Now, today is the 24th, so we've had a lot happen just since this, which is pretty crazy. It's a pretty active week for Jasmy in terms of releasing coins. So at the time he posted this, 100 million had been added, and he noted remaining coins, 2.4 billion for the incentive. That's the amount that should be tied up till they hit the KPIs, which by all accounts and everything they've ever posted is 2026. So that should be tied up. That's kind of like not even in circulation. And what was left after was 400 million institutional and 200 million ecosystem, right? Now, we'll cover more of that in a second. So here's a post here from DB Crypto Cooper. So verticals, Jasmy is involved in. Gaming, Sony PlayStation. Digital security, computer, Avita. Sports, Saganto Sue. Automotive, Honda, IoT. Data privacy, Jasmy Coin, plus many more. Twitter doesn't let me list the lot, right? Jasmy is a corporate octopus. I thought that was pretty cool. And apparently Hara thought that was pretty cool too. He also gave that one a like. A corporate octopus. That's a little bit different, right? So here was a little bit earlier in the week, back when the market was still kind of humming along. I noted here on Bitcoin that's now sitting between a support of 24.8 and resistance 29.9. Also noted the money inflow, green wave, as high as it's been since February 2021. So we were really kind of humming along there. We also had the golden cross occur, right? So everything was going pretty well earlier in the week. This is how it is in crypto, right? This is why I DCA, because you never know what's going to happen. Even with a very bullish chart, things can change on a dime, and we'll talk about that in a second. Now, outside of that, this was a very active week for these scammers. Holy crap, right? So I've had multiple scammer bots. I don't know if they're real people. I don't know if they're bots, who they are. Redo my account, try to talk to my followers and, scam them out of stuff. I'm never going to directly reach out to you. If I'm in a group with you, with other people, sure, I'll talk in there. But I very, very rarely, if ever, directly message anybody on Twitter. So if you ever get an account that looks like me that's directly messaging you, that's not me, all right? So anyhow, if you ever see any of these people, please report them. They've been out all over the place. It was just kind of a crazy week of scammers. And I saw a lot of other popular accounts getting kind of, copied just like mine. I saw a promotion, I think it was through Telegram, for some kind of Jasmy giveaway. I've seen the same scams on YouTube. They're all over the place, so just be careful, folks. Whatever you're looking at, protect your money, right? Now, moving on from there, this was a very relevant chart here posted by Willy Woo. So simple is powerful. Here's the timing of the Bitcoin cycles. Probably means we're entering the reaccumulation phase of the cycle, right? So I think this is really relevant in terms of Bitcoin when you look at it, and you can kind of see exactly where we are. So we're right in this reaccumulation phase. So, last time, it does trend up through that phase. Same thing with the one before it, same thing with the one before it. And then you have the halving, and then you really take off. So overall, that's where we're at right now. So, maybe we kind of bump up somewhere around here by the end of the year, right? So pretty relevant post there by Willie. So here's one by Jasmy US. So January and February have been more bullish than I could have ever hoped for Jasmy. Well done, Hara, Jasmy management team. Jasmy keeps building. Remember, companies begin to onboard Q4. That's the important thing, right? And here's one from Jasmy EU. As you can see, we can book our ticket with Jasmy on Travala. Great opportunity. So he actually kind of put it all together here and showed exactly where it, how that translation essentially from Jasmy in fiat equated, right? So pretty awesome that you can do that now. Now, it gets a little funnier, and I'll cover that in a second. But if you see this, so here again, here was a scam. Jasmy airdrop time, right? Linktree Jasmy coin. This is completely bogus. And you can see here it's Hara _ Jasmy _ CFO. That's not his actual name. So this is yet another scam. Before we cover Dip Metaverse, here's the one I wanted to show you, the one from Lil Bidman. I thought this was actually really, really awesome. So Lil Bidman, quoting him here, been DCAing Jasmy for over a year. I need a vacation. So like the first guy who bought pizza with Bitcoin, I'm heading to Hawaii. This was like a drop the mic. That was so cool. And so, I was looking at this here. He spent a good amount of Jasmy here on a couple of plane flights from American Airlines going to Honolulu. Totally awesome. Now, I actually posted here. Here was my response. I said, heck yeah, excellent decision. I actually took our family out there in 2018 and loved it. We absolutely loved it. This is me on the left here doing the zip line upside down. That's my son on the right at the time, which now he's bigger than me, which is pretty funny. But that's us going down the zip line in Honolulu. So loved it. Had such a great time on that trip. I think Lil Bidman's going to absolutely love the trip. And how cool is that he bought it with Jasmy? So he might go down. If Jasmy does what all of us think it could do, this could be like a multi-million-dollar trip here from New York to Hawaii on Jasmy. But really cool nonetheless. I thought that was just awesome that he did that. So anyhow, going back here to Dip Metaverse. So another 100 million added. So remaining coins, 300 million institutional, 200 million ecosystem. And that they didn't stop there. We'll get to more of that in a second. We also had this post here from Now Nodes. Ladies and gentlemen, Jasmy management. That's true. Jasmy is now listed on Now Nodes. Developers can now integrate and access Jasmy coin and its ecosystem easier and faster thanks to our API key and ETH node. Prepare for takeoff. Really interesting. I'm not 100% where this goes from here. So that's a really cool little update there on Now Nodes. In particular here, Jasmy coin and its ecosystem. Interesting, right? Very interesting. Moving on up. Dip Metaverse. Here he was again, right? 200 million institutional, 200 million ecosystem. And then 7 hours ago, 200 million allocated to institutional investors was added to circulating supply 5.5 hours ago. This is crazy. So they've been adding a lot over the last couple of days here, and definitely last 24 hours. So remaining coins, 2.4 billion incentive, 200 million ecosystem. So that is just crazy. So again, to kind of recap this, 2.4 billion is allocated for the team as an incentive to reach the KPIs, right? And the KPIs are supposed to be reached in 2026. So this is kind of like not in the equation, the 2.4 billion. From that, 200 million is all that's left in the ecosystem. So in all of the dilution that happened all of last year and the little bit that's happened this year, it's basically right about done. So that is just crazy, right? And with that, I thought this was a very relevant post from Tony. So Jasmy, 95% circulating supply with a 300 million market cap. If that isn't bullish, I don't know what is. I agree, man. Big time bullish. So it shows us 95, but it's really even higher than that because that 2.4 isn't in circulation and by all accounts should not be, at least for another 3 years. So really, you got maybe 200 million to move, and that's it. So this thing is like primed for takeoff at this point. So just crazy. Now, here was another post, and this is kind of the last one out of the feed for the week from Manila Will. I thought this was a good one too. So could one Jasmy partner be enough to satisfy the KPI goal of 107 million users? And he says, in 2022, Booking.com had 110 million in its mobile app. In 2023, should see even more. Add in the 14 other partners, and this is epic. Wow. That is crazy. I mean, look at the users, how it went up here with Booking.com. So 2022 was 110 million users. So I agree with you. I mean, I think that's spot on. I mean, if you look at Secure PC, everything that they're doing in Asia, the fan token, all these other things, they could easily hit the 107 million users. This partnership alone, if they can use the Nippon Travel Agency as like the beta test to show that, yes, this works with travel, then with Booking.com, it could be absolutely massive. Absolutely massive. So this is Jasmy again, kind of going on to a global scale. So this was a heck of a find here by Manila Will. I thought that was really just on point. So really, the theme of this week so far, if you're following, is kind of everything involving Travala and Booking.com, as well as kind of, all these scammers and whatever. Now, I did also want to take a look over at the chart. Oh, and I guess the other thing for this week was the release of all those coins, right? Huge. So with that kind of does tie into the Jasmy chart right now. So where we were earlier in the week, obviously we were humming along pretty good here. We were way up here. Since that time, we've had, kind of 4 days of red bars, right? Basically Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. It's all been red bars. Now, part of that is because of the overall market. So what happened in the market? Well, the CPI data, the consumer price index, this is AKA inflation here in the US, came in a little higher than what they thought. What that means, the sort of trickle-down effect, is that, well, is the Fed going to raise interest rates even higher sooner? The market never likes that, right? Because what it means is that borrowing is getting more expensive. It is more expensive to borrow money. So as that happens, that's sort of a negative effect on the market. But they, by all accounts, have to try and do that to rein in this inflation. Now, with that, the Jasmy team and or the market maker diluted with all those various coins that went into the circulation. So that's what pushed us down probably a little further than we would have. So, looking at this chart right here, I would kind of expect us to be somewhere in the middle of here. But we're actually all the way down here at the moment, and it's because of that various dilution that occurred, right? So there has been some diluting. With that, what it does is it does shake out, any kind of short-term holders, buyers, etc. Anybody who bought down here, maybe they decided they want to sell and move on. I get it. You can totally do that. Jasmy as a whole is a project that is a long-term project, and not everybody's a long-term investor. So I think that's kind of what our combination is that's going on in here. It's those short-term holders that are selling their coins, combined with the dilution, combined with the market going down. Now, when I zoom out further, what I see here in the other indicators is, first of all, we were significantly oversold, right? So we are oversold in the relative strength index. That's pretty obvious. We recorded this red dot basically all the way up here. That was on Tuesday, and we have not recorded a green dot yet. So, it looks like by all accounts, everything's trending down a little bit at the moment. Further from there, if we go ahead and look at Bitcoin, which is always relevant in looking at, see what's going on here in the overall market. Right now, the RSI is kind of trending downward, so we could trend a little bit further beyond where we are. Again, we recorded the red dot, no sign of the green dot yet. You can see where we had all this green money inflow. That is this green wave here. if I zoom in on this, let's see if we can see that a little clearer. There we go. So this green wave is money inflow into Bitcoin. You can see it kind of went up and peaked, about Monday, and then it's kind of dipped a little bit since, right? Things have gotten a little bearish out there. Now, if we look at the main chart, here's the overall Bitcoin chart. Now we'll just kind of zoom this in just a little bit so everyone can see what's happening right here. So here's the current price right here. We're at about 23,000 or so. Right now, we're still kind of following our trend lines. We're still in this big zone right here between, what's that, about 21.6 and 24.8. Earlier in the week, it looked like we were going to kind of go into the next level. But that bearish CPI data has kind of squashed that a little bit, kind of taken the life out of everything good that was like humming along here ever since 2023 hit. So overall, we are still trending upward. We have not, broken through this trend line here. We haven't broken through that one there yet. We haven't broken through this one here yet. So, there's a ways to go if we were to go further down. I don't really see that happening. I think we're going to continue to move up. Remember that the chart moves up more like a heartbeat as opposed to a straight line. So anyhow, that is it for this week's weekly update. Want to wrap everything up right now with some final thoughts and bring it on home. So in this week's final thoughts, I want to talk a little bit about those big three themes. So first of all, the travel angle, Travala, Booking.com. I think that is a really big partnership announcement for kind of a few different reasons, right? Number one, this is a site that's owned by Binance, so that's a Binance connection. We also know that CZ has been looking at getting back into the Japanese market. They acquired an exchange in Japan. CZ talked at a business school recently in Japan. There's a lot of emphasis, I think, getting into Japan because Japan is turning out to be possibly a leader on the crypto front moving forward. Really, in the blockchain technology space, their laws are changing. Japan as a country is a really big deal, and there's that Binance connection. Now, outside of that, what does it mean for Jasmy, the project? Well, as Manila Will said, look, they already got 110 million users on Booking.com. What if they actually use the PDL and they apply the Edge AI and they can recommend trips to people? It is a no-brainer partnership, okay? So when you think about what could come of this, there are some really big implications here in terms of the KPIs and how many users they want to get. 107 million users looks really easy when you got a platform that alone has 110 million, right? So that is absolutely huge. And that's the first mention that we've ever seen of Booking.com. We knew that Jasmy was looking at travel and getting into the travel space. We knew they had the Nippon Travel Agency in Japan, but we did not know about Booking.com or Travala. So that was really cool. And also a big shout out to Lil Bidman for booking that trip. Thought that was just super awesome, right? Now the second theme here, scammers. They are just everywhere right now. I cannot keep up with these scammers. My comments in this video are going to be loaded with scammers. I hide these bots, I hide these people from the channel, I report them as spam, and the very next video I get another 10, 20 that show up. So just be careful out there when you're posting. If there's an account that looks like me but sounds shady, it's not me, okay? Same thing on Twitter. If you get an account that looks like me that's reaching out to you, that's asking you to send it money or something, that's not me. Don't do it. Report it as a scammer. There's multiple scammers out there. You saw the airdrop scam. I think there was another scam I saw this past week also. There was like 3 different types of scam in Jasmy alone that I saw just this past week. So just be mindful, lots of scammers out there. Now, the last big item I wanted to talk about in this week's video was all of those coins going into circulating supply. They have been moving this past week, big time, really big, right? What that means is that at some point, everything is going to be out there except for that 2.4 billion, which technically is supposed to be held till 2026. If that's the case, then this coin is going to fly when the market takes off, right? I have thought all along that the market would take off by summer. I've said it multiple times, multiple videos. I've kind of thought that this turnaround here for 2023 was maybe a little faster than I foresaw happening. But nonetheless, that happened, right? With the recent CPI data, now we're, maybe a little bit on the bearish side in the market, which to me is a great thing, because that means that's more accumulation time for me, right? I'm never shy of that, and I only buy on red days, and I DCA, so really, this is kind of a good thing. We also know that the data exchange goes live fourth quarter. So as I've said all along, your window is kind of like now to fourth quarter before this thing could really take off, and then you're going to be chasing it with FOMO, right? So overall, in terms of the market, I'm not really worried about any of that stuff. Again, just like in all of 2022, you really got to kind of tune out the noise and just look at what's happening in the project itself. Well, huge announcement this week with Travala and Booking.com. Again, I mean, that just can't be understated. I mean, it's massive implications, massive implications in that. So I think even in a bearish week, they've continued to follow the plan. When it comes to diluting the coins, that's just about completed. So when it's done, that's it. I mean, then it's just simply going to ride the market, whatever's happening, and that's when Jasmy could really take off. So I would rather have them get them out now when things are bearish than get them out when things are bullish and kind of take the air out of our sails, right? Let's do it now so that when things take off, we can really go big, right? So that's what I'm looking forward to overall, and that's kind of a recap and everything I saw out there this week. So as always, if you enjoyed today's video, make sure to hit the like button. Don't forget that I'm also on Twitter at KIR Finance. You can find me tweeting, retweeting. If you click the QR code, that'll take you over to my website. Got all kinds of things there, financial blog, merch shop, yada, yada, yada. And other than that, as always, for a friendly reminder, this is Jesse with Keeping It Real Finance, channel that always has your back, tells it like it is, and I will see you on the next one. Later.